In my opinion, one of the top reasons that people should go through a divorce is if they have children, but the children are being raised in a toxic household. There's lots of studies and opinions showing that sometimes children are better off with divorced parents rather than with parents who are constantly fighting and constantly in conflict, can't make mutual decisions for the kids. It causes a lot of issues for them, and they typically end up in therapy. So some reasons that people should get divorced is breakdown in communication. There's no intimacy. Normally when there's infidelity, we find that that's not actually the root cause of the divorce. That's just a symptom. And so the infidelity is not as much of an issue as just the marriage has broken down and it is no longer working. Contrary to popular opinion, from what I've seen in my experience in family law, infidelity may not be the reason to get divorced. Sometimes people haven't tried therapy yet. They haven't tried to communicate better, actually find the source of what really is the issue. And a lot of times, maybe you shouldn't get divorced. Sometimes I do see that people want to get a divorce after one big fight. They really shouldn't. They should try talking to their spouse, get to the root cause of the issue. So if you had a big fight, that may not be a good reason to get divorced. You may need to work on communication skills. You might need to work on some of your issues. Going to therapy may also be an option, and I've seen it work for some of my clients where they file for a divorce and they get back together and they live happily ever after. Sometimes there might be another option rather than divorce to try before you go for a divorce. In the state of Texas, we do have the postnuptial agreement. And if the big fight is about property or separation or your assets, that might be an option to try, is to do a postnuptial agreement to separate your assets. In that case, maybe you won't be fighting about your assets anymore. Some good alternatives to divorce might be counseling, couples therapy, sometimes individual therapy, counseling for the children at times. Sometimes it's not working out with the kids or teenagers are in a bad spot. We've tried reunification therapy before, and that works for families. I've seen couples sometimes live separately for several months with no communication, and that gets them back together. Sometimes you just need to step away and look at the real issues. Sometimes I think people need a cool down period after a really big fight. I've seen couples have a trial separation to see how it works out, and it actually doesn't work out. They don't like that any better than being married. In my opinion, it's not always greener on the other side. And if you have children with someone, it may be worth a try to stay together. Before filing for a divorce, you should know the consequences that comes with filing a divorce, especially for your children. Divorce is hard on kids. If there's a way to work it out, sometimes maybe you don't want to get divorced. I would also look at the big picture with your finances. 2 incomes is better than 1. Divorce is one of the hardest processes that I've seen. It's something that you definitely want to think through before you go ahead and file for a divorce. I would definitely consult with an attorney, and if that's something you want to do, at the Bayley Law Firm, we're here to help. Please give us a call.